Hello and welcome back to the channel, beautiful people of the Barcelona fan base. Welcome back to the channel. If you want to get educated with Barcelona tactics, game plans and whatever, consider subscribing because we're talking about a lot of stuff on this channel tactically, only about Barcelona. That is the only team we're focusing on, and if that is you, please consider subscribing. So let's get right into the video. In terms of the lineup, we had Ter Stegen in goal, Andreas Christensen and Eric Garcia as the center backs. Once again, Ronald Araujo played as a right back, but there's not something majorly wrong with that. Since we've talked about it in the previous videos, I actually said that I would like to see him at center back, but there's a reason actually why he played as the right back. He didn't actually have played specifically as a right back, because we played like in a back three, but we're gonna get right into that. So Alejandro Balde started ahead of Jordi Alba, because he was flying forward. Surprisingly seeing Frankie de Jong as the pivot. I was expecting to see Miralem Pjanic, Pedri and Xavi as the free eights, Lewandowski, Ferran Torres surprisingly making the first 11 alongside Ousmane Dembele. And in terms of Real Sociedad, they played with a 4-1-3-2, depending on how you look at it. This could also be like a diamond, with David Silva being at the head of that diamond, right? So let's see, in defense, Barcelona really pressed high. Ronald Araujo, Andres Christensen and Eric Garcia, they were playing as a back three. Dembele and Balde, they were playing like wing backs. Ferran Torres, Lewandowski and Pedri, they pressed like in a diamond, midfield diamond, because they wanted to put pressure on their deep lying player, which means that these players had to drop back like constantly, And Xavi, played alongside Frankie de Jong for the most part, so he was playing like a second pivot, So Barcelona pressed in a 3-4-3 formation, right? And what's good about this, seeing that these players had to drop deep to get on the ball, Xavi wanted to make the pitch really small by playing with a very, very high line to compress the field and to make it as small as possible, and Barcelona succeeded. It was a very scrappy game in the beginning, and the reason Barcelona could afford to defend like this is because Real Sociedad only had a front two, Take Kubo and also Alexander Isak. That's my phone going off there. Police is probably looking for me, but yeah, so one thing I wanted you to notice, Ferran Torres and Lewandowski actually pressed from an angle to basically force these players on one side, and Xavi is really good at that, right? The only difference that we might have seen from this is that Alejandro Balde actually went back and he completed the back four. The reason Xavi did that is for Real Sociedad to not be able to actually really stretch us, right? So the back four, so Araujo could afford to go over, Christensen could also, and Eric Garcia and Balde, so they were making like a back four, which means we did defend at times in a 4-3-1-2. Now in possession, it was a really interesting battle. Things basically started to open up in the second half because of the way that Real Sociedad was actually pressing. Their main focus was on Frankie de Jong, trying to cut off the passes throughout the midfield. And to counter that, Xavi tasked his players to play like in the back three, right? And Xavi and Frankie de Jong played as a pivot, because Ter Stegen could easily just find him. Now, whether this would be with Araujo, Andres and Eric at the back four, or Andreas, Mats and Ter Stegen and Eric Garcia being the back three, it didn't matter, because you would see that David Silva was actually playing like withdrawn, So not only did Barcelona have the numerical advantage over here, they also had it in midfield, which would later on lead to the downfall of Real Sociedad, because in the build-up phase, with Ter Stegen, that opened up like space like crazy, for Barcelona to play through. So David Silva was having a nightmare, But actually, Real Sociedad adjusted and they played like in a 4-3-3, you know, defensive, and they were using their cavaceros, you know, to cut out the passing lane to these double pivots, you know, and that is basically how Real Sociedad are trying to counter this, you know. But still, that allowed Barcelona to play out very nicely from the back, and they could easily find Alejandro Balde and Ronald Araujo on the wings, right? So moving up the pitch, Ferran Torres actually was tasked to come into midfield because Real Sociedad was having a midfield diamond over there, right? And Ferran Torres actually come back. Remember, I just said that they played like in a front three, with Xavi getting Ferran Torres to come into the midfield and Alejandro keeping the width. That forced Real Sociedad to bring back David Silva into midfield to have a 4 versus 4 in midfield. Now, if you look closely, you will see that Barcelona didn't dominate in midfield, you know, because David Silva and Brais Mendes, all of those players, they are really good. But the thing here is Barcelona has the tactical side, you know, the way the Barcelona, the intricate passes, the individual brilliance were better than Real Sociedad playing. So it was really essential for Ferran Torres to play in that midfield, to play off of Gavi, Pedri and Frenkie, you know, to form that midfield diamond over there, you know, and easily Ter Stegen could find like Eric Garcia and they could dribble forward, you know, because they had a 3 versus 2 numerical advantage over there. And with Dembele and Alejandro Balde pinning back the fullbacks, they couldn't basically go forward to help in defense up front, you know. So that was a really smart move from Xavi to actually bring forward Ferran Torres, you know. Now, this is where the downfall of Real Sociedad basically came, right? Is the fact that when Ferran Torres went up as a second striker alongside Robert Lewandowski, that freed up Pedri, you know, because Gavi and Frenkie actually played really narrow and really close, that basically forced these guys, you know, and that left space for Pedri to go crazy, and often Eric Garcia could find him, and as well as Ronald Araujo could find those guys up there, could find Pedri in particular, because he was now getting free chances. They could even like drop back and find the ball over there, you know. But the main thing Pedri was doing, Pedri was keeping this fullback really narrow. And this is where the trouble came in, you know, the space that Dembele found to actually score the goal. He was in acres of space, and that is all because of keeping these guys narrow to give space. And if you go back in my previous video, you will see that I talked about this, the wingers being very essential in those one-on-one situations. But Xavi made it even more simple for them to actually be in space by having these guys playing like a front three, really narrow, which brought these guys all together, which created lots of space for especially Dembele. You could see the goal from Robert Lewandowski. It was all because of this narrow play that Barcelona had, and Ferran Torres being the second striker. Now, with Ferran and Pedri, all of these guys being so central, that destroyed Real Sociedad, you know, because they had to commit players now into this mix over here to not be outnumbered, you know. And if you look closely, although there was width, all of the goals that Barcelona had was really like scrappy through the middle. Lewandowski's second goal, you could see Lewandowski's second goal, Ansu Fati's goal, you know, all of those goals were really scrappy, and that is all because having so many players narrow. And we talked about that in the previous video, with Barca actually having to play with a 3-2-5, you know, being that we needed to dominate in that midfield, in the center, you know. And this is where the downfall of Real Sociedad basically came, you know. And so that forced David Silva even more back, you know, to even up the numbers, which meant that Araujo and Eric Garcia were in acres of space. They were the ball carriers, but particularly Araujo, because, you know, Alejandro Balde is not so excellent in one-on-one situations. they actually wanted to use Dembele as much as possible. You know, Rafinha also came in and he made a great impact on the game when he came in, you know, being so good in one-on-one situations, you know. And I love it when we talk about something on the channel and just in the next game Xavi ends up doing it, because we talked about Dembele and Rafinha being very important in those one-on-one situations, right? And Xavi actually helped them, you know. Credit to Xavi. Let me know down in the comment section, what do you think about this game? What do you think about this excellent tactical display, especially in the second half from FC Barcelona? I would like to hear your thoughts, you know. And if you want to get educated on Barcelona's tactics, how we play and everything, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching this game. Goodbye.